Hello, welcome to Black Friday with Brittany Kennedy. Today is May 29th, 2020, and I hope you guys have had a lovely week. I know it has been a very trying week for all of us in the Black community, and I'm going to talk about that today. But for those of you guys that are new to Black Friday, this is a space where I like to talk about socioeconomic issues that are too taboo in the Black community to talk about. I talk about them here. The thought process is that I'll create awareness. That awareness will help us create solutions, thus reducing our problems, allowing us to rise as we should. So last week, I talked about why we should boycott the term people of color. And this week, I think we all understand why we should boycott the term people of color. I just want to talk about the feedback that I got from that video last week. It was absolutely amazing. I felt very alone at first in my perception, and if you guys remember that video, you can go back and check it out. I had a woman named Farah Zuleika who commented on a post that she had stating how she was a woman of color, she's of Pakistani descent, and basically it ignited these feelings inside of me where I realized I do not like the term people of color, and I do not think that all people who are not white are people of color. I think colored is what they used to call us. People are people of color. And I do not think that it is okay for Asians, Middle Easterns, Hispanics, or any other culture outside of the Black race to use that term to identify themselves with, because it minimizes our struggle. It minimizes what we go through. And this week, case in point, we've got the death of George Floyd. It is heart-wrenching. That video was gut-wrenching to have to watch. And the entire time, I was under the impression that George was put into custody, then taken somewhere else where he then died from complications, complications from the abuse, the excessive force that the police had used in Minneapolis. Come to find out, that's not what happened. He died there, on the scene. He was dead when they put him on that gurney. Mind-blowing. And so when we think about the term people of color, Farah Zuleika, people who are not Black, I want you to understand that there's not that many, and I'm not saying that other people are not being killed out of police brutality or through racism ideologies, but I can't recall the last time I heard of a police officer killing somebody of Middle Eastern descent in that kind of way, like George Floyd. I do not recall the last time I heard about, and I'm not saying that this does not take place, because I do believe it has happened in the Hispanic community for sure, but I can't recall a case myself where I can think of a police officer who killed a Hispanic person out of racism. I can't. And the feedback that I got from the video last week was alarming. It allowed me to see that I am not the only one that thinks like this. I can say that because I posted this video in a lot of different groups on Facebook, all very Black conscious, Black oriented type of groups. One called Black Consciousness, my group called Black Voices Empowered, and everybody, the consensus is that this term should not be used at all, actually, number one, but that it should certainly not be used by people who are not Black, because it undermines our struggle, specifically in this country. It undermines how we are killed all the time because of racism from police officers. So this week I want to talk about the whole issue of George Floyd, and I want to talk about the Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper situation. And it's my belief that social media is our best ally. Black people, social media is your best ally. Going live, recording whatever situation you are in is your best defense. It's not your best defense when you get to the court and you want to tell them your story, your side, whatever. You actually recording what is happening is your best defense. And if you die, such as George Floyd, then at least you've got the evidence out there. I would honestly encourage every Black person to stop using passwords on your phone where you've got to type it in. And I may be the only one who had been doing that, but I had been doing that. And so I want to encourage all of you, don't do that anymore. Have your fingerprint or have face recognition. Because if you are in a situation with a police officer where you are not able to get to your hands to do all of that quickly, you might at least be able to hit that button real quick and go live. It may be a lot easier for you to access the proper channels in your phone to record the situation than it would be to sit there and type in your password. So if you don't have a phone that has face recognition, that you can have your thumbprint, just open it. I suggest strongly that you invest in one. And for all Black people, anytime you come across a situation with a police officer or anybody doing anything racist, but especially a police officer, I encourage you to start recording. I don't care if there's nothing going on yet. I don't care if you even think there's something that's about to happen. I encourage you to record it. And not just record it, but record it to where it goes on live. And I know that may be kind of like, maybe it's excessive to think about, to have all of your people in social media knowing that you just got a parking ticket. Maybe. But maybe it's not. Because maybe it's the one thing that saves you. Maybe it's the one thing that allows other people to see what happened moments before you died. We have to have some kind of better defense. But right now, outside of creating awareness, outside of protests, outside of rallying, when you come across a situation where you could be in danger, record immediately. Because it at least is your message to the world. I can't even think of what happened those last few moments before George died. And there are witnesses. This is broad daylight. They don't give a fuck about your life. They do not. And it's now come out from the store owner, who is actually one of his employees, was one of the ones that actually called the police on him because he allegedly had used a fake dollar alert, he had counterfeited money that he was trying to make a purchase with. So they called the police. And this store owner obviously captured everything on his outdoor cams because the cameras are there. But what he found was that he never resisted. Never resisted. They just chose to be like that. He was already detained. You can look it up. Go to CNN.com. I believe that's where I saw it today. It's ridiculous. But anywho, so I want to get into the research that I have found about how social media and how social media has helped the Black community in terms of racism and the issues of racism, discrimination. So I went to, obviously I can't really talk that well today. I went to this website called Wired.com. And it's talking, the name of the article, I think it's Stand Up. Actually doesn't have a title here. But anyhow, I'll obviously put the links to everything I'm going through here in the bottom so you can click on it, check it out for yourself, but just dive right in. It says, in the 1960s, if you were a civil rights worker stationed in the Deep South and you needed to get some urgent news out to the rest of the world, word of a beating or an activist's arrest or some brewing state of danger, you would likely head straight for a telephone. From an office or a phone booth in hostile territory, you would place a call to one of the major national civil rights organizations, but you wouldn't do it by dialing a standard long-distance number. That would involve speaking first to a switchboard operator who was bound to be white and who might block your call. Instead, you dial the number for something called a wide area telephone service, or WATS line. Like an 800 line, you could dial a WAT number from anywhere in the region, and the call would patch directly through to the business or organization that paid for the line. In this case, say the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. On the other end of the line, another civil rights worker would be ready to take down your report, and all the others pouring in from phones scattered across the South. The terrorist action-packed write-ups would then be compiled into mimeographed WATS reports mailed out to organization leaders, the media, the Justice Department, lawyers, and other friends of the movement across the country. In other words, it took a lot of infrastructure to live tweet what was going on in the streets of the Jim Crow South. Whew, that was a mouthful. And it was also very shocking for me to read that. I mean, obviously, I knew that there had to be some kind of crazy other process of getting information to the public about whatever was going on when it came to discrimination issues. But I did not understand that it was that intense. Like, you had to call somebody who then, wrote a report, then sent it out, then did this, then did that. Now, all you've got to do is click that lovely little button on your phone and boom, you're live for the world to see everything. Start taking advantage of that more. I think we're doing a great job at recording. Also, I want to point out, if you are a bystander and you're watching something happen, I know it's very difficult to think in terms of putting yourself in harm's way because you don't know what's going to happen. But the moment that you get your phone out and you start recording, probably even if you're pretending to record, they're not going to, well, I would like to say they're not going to because they just did. But I would like to think that the majority of people are going to be less likely to continue their behavior. Right? The moment that you get your phone out and start recording, somebody in their right mind is going to stop and think, I should stop now. Obviously, the white man who killed George Floyd was not thinking that. He obviously did not care who was watching. And that says a lot about that specific gentleman, but he's not the only one out there. He's not the only white supremacist hiding behind a badge. There are plenty of others. And while he may have lost his job and his life is crumbling and we don't know whether or not he's going to be charged for murder, but we're hoping that he will because he needs to be charged for murder, there's probably a whole white supremacy group of friends, of people that he's connected to that probably just elevated him in their sect or group of society. That's something to think about. They may be okay with losing their ranks in public because behind doors they could be gaining other ranks. We should start thinking about stuff like that as well. We should start thinking more about how they're moving and how we can move as well to block and combat that or to somehow match it. I'm not condoning murder or saying that we should be murdering them. But what I am saying is that we need to create a line of defense against what they're doing to us. And sometimes it's about having to think and move the way that they do. Which is why people like Malcolm X did not believe in peaceful protests. Because they weren't doing their shit peacefully when they were hanging people. Anyhow, moving right along here to the next article, which was its own engaged scholarship at CSU, Cleveland State University, and the article is titled "The Value of Black Lives, the Effect of the Digital Age on African American Identity and Political Participation" by Lauren Grimes. Let's see, let me scroll on down here. And it says, social media provides spaces feel like that's a typo, but anywho, social media provides spaces for marginalized groups to voice opinions and raise awareness without depending on media and political figures to do so. In the 21st century, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, three of the most popular SNS worldwide, were created. Since then, African American users have dominated the world of SNS. In 2009, Facebook, the most popular social media site in the world and among African Americans, compared user surnames with US Census Bureau data to evaluate the diversity of its platform. African Americans are still the largest proportion of minorities on Facebook in the United States. According to the Pew Research Center, Instagram is the second most popular social media platform among African Americans and Latinos in the US. A whopping 34% of Instagram users are Black. Twitter follows the same statistical trend, coming out third with 1 in 4 users identifying as African American. By sheer numbers alone, it is evident that African Americans are dominating SNS platforms. The collective use of social media has allowed the group the freedom to continue to virtually shape its identity. As social spaces, social media have become tools to help African Americans share stories and pictures and learn history from one another. By creating exclusive conversations and passing on information, albeit electronically, records are being formed and relationships are being built. Black identity is being molded, strengthened, and reinforced. Social network sites also provide space where African Americans can ponder their place in politics and the implications it has on their lives. The MacArthur Research Network on Youth and Political Participation has been conducting research on the impact social media has on voters. In one particular study, researchers determined that although most young people, regardless of race, use traditional media, i.e. newspapers and television, to acquire political information, youth of color are more likely to use new forms of media to do so. According to YPP research, the less socioeconomic resources are available to youth, the less likely they are to use those traditional resources. So, case in point, shows very clearly that statistically, we are using social media to connect with each other, to talk about our issues, to access the public and let everyone know what's going on in our communities and how we feel about it. And we need to use our voice more, honestly. We really do. I think it would be very beneficial. I look at this channel that I've got, and granted, I'm not somebody that has 1,000+ views yet or anything like that, but I do have people who are listening, and that's the most important thing. I don't care if it's only 5 people, but it's not only 5 people, it's actually 50. That's how many people I've got who are subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed, I suggest you do it right now, because this is an important channel. It is important for you to hear this information about what's going on in your community and what people think about it. That way you can be more aware of where you are and what you can do differently to make that change. Talking to our peers is a great resource for us. We do not have the political power that whites currently have, obviously. So we need to use everything that we possibly can to get our information out, to unite our people, and to do the best we can to fight the powers that be. These horrible, horrible people who don't give a crap about our humanity. They don't even see us as equal. They probably don't even see us as humans. So there's one last article I want to go through, and this one is interesting actually. It's from fastcompany.com, and I just wanted to see, I wasn't able to get how many all in total this year there has been when it comes to issues of racism that has been recorded, but Fast Company did a really, really good job of doing it for 2018. In the article, The Year in Viral Racist, 29 Acts of Bigotry That Gained Infamy into 2018. So let's just go ahead and scroll through, and it goes month by month. January, H&M introduced a catalog picture that, got people talking. Remember the monkey thing? How many of you guys are still shopping at H&M? Because I know I'm not. Once that happened, I was like, deuce, I'm done. Don't shop at H&M anymore. Never have and never will, honestly. Let's see here. February. Whether because of Black History Month or the fact that it's the shortest month of the year, February happened to be the only month in 2018 with no prominent displays of viral racism. Congratulations, February. March. Virginia's Tech all-white women's lacrosse team was criticized after a video appeared online showing the group singing a Lil Dicky song that prominently features the N-word. The team ultimately apologized for the video, although this incident isn't nearly as egregious as most of the others on this list. It ushered a conversation about the typical lack of diversity in certain college sports. April. A barista at a Philadelphia Starbucks called the police on two black men who were waiting in the coffee shop for a friend. This one right here made me stop going to Starbucks. Starbucks? Fuck you. Honestly, I don't care if you guys pay their tuition. I don't give 3 shits on $1 steak. I no longer go to Starbucks. Period. As a result of the social media outcry that followed, Starbucks shut down all 8,000 of its stores one day for anti-bias training. A woman captured on camera calling the police on 2 black men who were using a charcoal grill to cook meat in a designated grilling zone in Oakland. The woman became known as, you know her, Barbecue Becky. Seriously? We can't do nothing. Can't barbecue. Nothing. May, a white man suffering from a terminal case of economic anxiety was filmed ranting to the manager of a fresh kitchen in Manhattan about an employee speaking Spanish to a customer. After Twitter crowdsourced the man's identity, local politicians filed a formal complaint against him with the state's court system, and his law practice was kicked out of its office building. Whoop whoop. June. A Missouri woman released a video around the topic of going N-word hunting on Snapchat and was subsequently fired from both her waitressing job and the Air Force Reserve. Very good. A white real estate agent was caught on a phone video hurling racial insults at a Latinx bouncer. Why don't they just put Latina? I don't understand. After the video made the rounds, the agent lost his job for apartment broker, MySpace, NYC. A white woman earned the nickname Permit Patty after threatening to call the cops on a young black girl selling water on a San Francisco sidewalk. Really? The woman eventually resigned from her job as CEO of a cannabis products company following the backlash. Just replay that back one more time. So, I know cannabis is like legal in San Francisco when you've got a company like this, but so it's one of those things that has been really, really looked at as like being morally, ethically improper, not good. And so you, the CEO of a cannabis product company, had the audacity to call the cops on the young black girl selling water? Please. A white woman earned the moniker Paw Patrol Paula for attacking a black teenage boy she suspected was not allowed in a community pool. He was, though. Months later, the woman pled guilty to an assault and battery charge and was ordered to pay a $1,000 fine. Facts. July. A California woman was caught on camera yelling racial slurs at a black couple on an interstate freeway. She later lost her job over it. A white man became known ID Adam after calling the police during a 4th of July pool party because he refused to believe that a black woman and her child were members of their community pool in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They were. ID Adam soon lost his job at Sunoco and was kicked off the Community Homeowners Association. Bruh. You're on the Homeowners Association and you have the audacity to pull some crap like that? I'm done. A white CVS manager called the police on a black woman in Chicago for using a manufacturer's coupon he suspected was fake. The plot twist, however, was that the man now known as Coupon Carl had himself been busted for forgery 2 years prior. Coupon Carl lost his job at CVS. Okay. I don't even understand what just happened there. August, a white employee of a land management company went on a racist rant directed at a cameraman at an anti-fracking protest. I love that word. Anti-fracking protest for a documentary on climate change entitled fittingly The Way We Live. The cameraman later showed video of the rant, which he had been caught on, his camera, and the racist man lost his job. Well, good, fracking. There's some TV show and they use the word frack. Frack for like everything else, and it is not what that means. A Mississippi hospital employee was caught on camera calling a donut place worker the N-word. After the video went viral, the employee lost his job. Also, this happened. It looks like a police officer is saying, "You don't belong in my city." Telling a black man that he doesn't belong in his hometown. Yeah, well, guess what? He lost his job. September, a woman working for Delta called the police on a black woman who asked to speak with a manager about her badly damaged bag. The Delta employee was dubbed Baggage Claim Becky. I love it. October, a Puerto Rican, but it doesn't say what happened. Did she lose her job or not? Whatever happened to Baggage Claim Becky? October, a Puerto Rican man accused his Lyft driver, a black man, of discrimination and then went on a racist rant that went viral. The passenger later lost his job and became banned from Lyft for life. You're a for Lyft life banner person. Stupid. This other woman blocked a black man, from entering his own apartment because he was making her feel uncomfortable. She's since been fired from her job. Okie dokie. So there's a lot more. So much, honestly. A white librarian called the cops on black students for an apparently suspicious bout of studying. Yeah. Honestly, you should have to apply for a license to call the police if you're white. Yeah, because all these fake calls that don't even mean anything. Look at Miss Cooper. It's interesting that both their names is Cooper, Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper. Awkward, but interesting. I mean, she did lose her job, which is a really good thing. It sucks that she lost her job. It sucks what she did to lose her job. But now that she's lost her job, it's like coronavirus right now. What are you going to do, Amy? Where are you going to work after this? I guess you could possibly look up all the companies that are known to be racist, and you could possibly become work there. But really, where are you going to work now? You might want to start your own company. But who's going to support you? There are a lot of racists out there, so you just might be alright. Anywho, this goes on and on. Every month. November, a Kirkland Wash yogurt shop employee called the police on a black man for being inside the yogurt shop without ordering anything. Anyways. December. I'm trying to pick the best ones. A Virginia teacher called university campus security on an art professor, who happens to be black, for eating her breakfast inside her own classroom. Stop. The teacher is suspended for the remainder of the semester. Suspended? Yeah, you called him. Are you not allowed to eat in your classroom? Are you eating in front of the children? Or not children, because it's a university. Are you eating in front of the students, or... I don't understand. Anywho, please record. That's the moral of the story today. And I didn't know I was already at 30 minutes. But anywho, sorry guys. A little bit longer. It's because I went through that Fast Company thing. I thought it was so interesting how many times people call the police for us just being black. But we should do it to them. Yeah. You're white. You're racist, and I've got a phone in your face. Where's my phone? This is my COVID-19 new phone. Got a phone in your face, and I'm recording you. That's what we all need to do. So, I hope you enjoyed this lovely video. I hope you enjoyed the message. I hope you pass it on, share it, like it, subscribe to it. Thank you so much for checking it out. Black Friday with Brittany Kennedy. Ciao, guys.